And we have reports that examination boards in Kenya and Uganda are now writing Nigeria to verify records presented by Nigerian candidates seeking admission into tertiary institutions in their countries. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, made this known in the document for the 2024 policy meeting. JAM noted in the document that it would not falsify the records of any students while stressing the need to protect Nigeria's tertiary education from disrepute. The development comes on the back of the federal government's decision to suspend the verification of degree certificates from Uganda, Kenya, Benin Republic, Togo, and some other countries over allegations of certificate racketeering. Reports reveal how he obtained a particular person who disclosed that he obtained a degree within 6 weeks and even proceeded to embark on mandatory youth service under the National Youth Service Scheme back in Nigeria. Someone who obtained a certificate within 6 weeks. The investigative report, which exposed the illegalities perpetrated by some tertiary institutions in the West African countries, led to the Nigerian government placing a ban on the accreditation and evaluation of degrees from Benin Republic and Togo. So with this regard, the Minister of Education, Tahir Mamman, having received the reports of the committee, noted that holders of fake degrees from Nigerian and foreign universities would be flushed out of the system. Some of the recommendations of the committee stressed the need for universities in the country to conduct their admissions via the Central Admissions Processing System, popularly known as CAPS, and the mandatory submission of matriculation lists to the Federal Ministry of Education. This is after an investigation was made, and from the report, an individual gained a certificate or obtained a certificate after 6 weeks, and yet he went for NYSC.
Sorry to say this, this can only happen in Nigeria. Now the question now is, are these fortresses lies? They are not, because these people have legal documents to tender to back up their claims. And that is why
you say that this can only happen in Nigeria. Let's not forget that this certificate we're talking about is not from a Nigerian university.
When I say happen in Nigeria, I mean that here in Nigeria, anything can happen. My father died as a professor, and I know what he went through to become a professor back then. But these days, you see someone that has gone to school after 4 or 5 years, after the first degree, the person is now a professor. We don't even have research grants anymore. Our research institutes are dead. No, with the way the academia is now, it's no longer holistic the way it used to be before. You have a whole lot of people donning PhDs, masters, no, without even publishing articles. I've seen lots over time. So much that I have come to an understanding that when you have a degree outside Nigeria, Africa, and you go abroad, they tend to make you undergo other rigors of tests, you know, before you are granted permission to work or do other things that has to do with written work abroad. But anything that comes from abroad into Nigeria is permissible. Like now, let's take the issue of Mr. President now. He claimed he had a degree from abroad, is he not? But today, what happened? We don't even know whom he cannot say this is whom his classmate is. At the end of the day, they discovered that the name he claimed belonged to.
All right, then let's look at this particular situation now, and education in Nigeria, and the forgery that we're talking about, the illegalities we're talking about, aside the fact that this was from another university in another country, even when we look at Nigeria, we've had cases like this, where students will get a certificate from a Nigerian university and report to have it that they did not even attend the university, where people would get to pay for certificates and all of these things. How do we solve this? That
is the gross corruption I have been talking about now. That is the corruption. Because when you look at this now, is the issue of give and take. There was an exchange of word for grades, for a certificate. And this has brought our academia to so much disrepute that there should be an inward look into how certificates are being gotten. It also boils down to our places of work. There are so many people that are working with fake certificates in Nigeria that is prone to scrutiny. And to this effect, at least the Minister of Education should, as a matter of fact, swing into action to make sure, I think, the universities, polytechnics, and monotechnics are well funded, so that at least they should have refresher courses for administrative staffs, wherefore they are trained on how to handle such issues, because it's becoming pandemic and alarming that such can be happening in Nigeria, the supposed giant of Africa. We are the giant of Africa. In what spectrum? Nigerians are the best educationists outside the country, increasing the GDP of other countries, but not in Nigeria. That is why Mr. President is promulgating that our medical staffs that are soaring abroad should come back home. And do you think this is going to happen? It's not rocket science. Why? With the subsidy thing, with the way Nigeria is now, for a medical doctor that is in over 40,000-50,000 in America, Canada, India, that they should come back home, it's very laughable. So I think that the president should put medium to make sure that our education is watertight, so that at least our children that is regarded as the future of tomorrow can have a fortress to tap into. If not, what is staring us in the face within the nearest future is going to be pandemic. So to this effect, I think we should all put hands on deck to make sure the glory days of the Nigeria academia comes back to where it used to be.
And talking about working on what is staring us in the face, we're also looking at ASU, talking about another strike again. This is one big issue that's been a back and forth with the federal government for a long time now. But we hope that that is handled and our educational system gets a new face. Thank you so much, Alfred, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Today on ATN Blowout, we hope to have you some other time.